How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Killdozer. This is from 1974. It's a made-for-TV, kind of like movie of the week type deal, and it's directed by Jerry London. The movie stars Clint Walker, Carl Betz, and Nevel Brand, and is based on a novella by Theodore Sturgeon. Now, this movie, you'd hear me say, low-budget, made-for-TV movie from the 70s called Killdozer, and you probably have an idea like, okay, that's a cheese fest, right? And that is there. That is part of it. But it's actually a lot better than it has any right to be, and you can tell that the people who made it put legitimate effort into it. I mean, you wouldn't expect a movie called Killdozer to be based on a book, but when you watch it, it's actually quite evident. The characters are more developed than you think they would be, and when something happens, you start to go, oh man, how's that guy gonna react to that? And yeah, okay, when you're a kid, you may see these as boring talking scenes, but the characters are actually really well-rounded, and the actors are all taking this very seriously, and we got some good names in here. Yeah, the characters pop, and it actually has a pretty good sense of scale, going from the point where you're not even sure if the Killdozer is a real thing, to starting to believe it, even though you don't know how it could be possible, to the point where the Killdozer's playing cat and mouse with you. I love the sense of scale in this movie. Really cool. But also, yeah, like I said, the cheese elements are in there, but you have to understand, like, the sense of spectacle for the day. Like, this was pre-CGI, so they were doing all this stuff for real. And also pre-YouTube, so you couldn't just look up bulldozer smashes stuff. If you wanted to see some really cool footage of a bulldozer going nuts and wrecking stuff, you had to tune into Killdozer. And yeah, it knew that it had to take this sense of spectacle. It had to show the audience some fun stuff. And in turn, the Killdozer is on screen for a good chunk of the movie, and there is some really fun sequences with that. And also in regards to the budget, it's 6 men on one set. It's a super small movie, almost feeling like a bottle episode of a TV show, but it never really does feel small and actually uses the small scale to create a good sense of isolation. In turn, yeah, there are cheesy fun moments and it is low budget, but this is made better than you would think, and it's definitely worth a watch and has developed a cult following for a reason. Definitely recommend Killdozer. I guess in order to talk about it in more specifics, let's go ahead and talk a bit about the plot. I'm not going to do any major spoilers. I do want to break down and analyze it a little further, but I don't have to ruin the end to do that. But let's take a moment and break things down a bit. We open up with, okay, one of the cheesiest shots of the movie. We see the meteorite with this strange blue light glowing entity thing in it, and it crashes into Earth. That's the most special effect heavy the movie gets. It's a little cheesy, but yeah, hey, it's a fun shot to open the movie with. We then cut to present day. We are on a super small island, like 6 square miles tops, and there's only 6 people on this island. 6 construction worker guys, and the closest landmass is Africa, which is 200 miles away. You get the sense of isolation and the fact that everyone here is construction workers. These are working men that are here to do a job. This was like an old World War II refueling place, and they're going to turn it into a base of operations for an oil plant. Well, they're working, and there's a guy driving the bulldozer. When he hits this rock he can't move, the meteorite from earlier, the boss says, hey, let me take that over for you, and the guy who's supposed to be driving is standing, looking at the meteorite. The boss rams the bulldozer into it. Big light creature comes out of the meteorite and goes into the bulldozer, and the guy who sees it is like fried. They take him back to the tent, and you can tell he's a goner, and he's spouting out vague warnings about what he's seen, and they try to get him help, but they're so far out that no one can get there in time. Talk about a sense of isolation and desperation. He's dying, and no one can help you. Well, he will eventually pass, and that's where we get the beginning of these good character moments. They really give you some time to grieve for this guy and to watch the people process the first death and understand how helpless they are. And we do get character moments. You know, this guy who is like the best friend of the deceased. Why were you even driving the bulldozer? This makes no sense. He's not smushed. Why did he die? What happened? Is there something you're not telling me? And we'll get a rivalry between these two characters. And then you'll get the older guy that's worked for like way longer, and he's more content in saying, just let it pass. It was some horrible accident. But everyone responds differently. And the boss is going to be your main character. He's also one of the first people that sees the bulldozer malfunction and start to do things on its own, and it almost runs him over. And he has to think and figure out how to process this. But we get the sense that he's a recovering alcoholic. He's had a few career hiccups before, projects that didn't go too well, and he's trying to keep this operation running, even though you have one guy blaming him for the death. The crew is a little suspicious. They want to drink, they want to mourn, and he's the guy that has to say, okay, everybody, we're gonna go back to work tomorrow. Like, he has to say that, and he has to be that guy. Overall, you don't get that too often. The guy that has to be the jerk boss, but he really is just coming from a place where he has to do it. He's an interesting lead, and I really do like him. But anyway, they start to suspect, as the Killdozer does more and more stuff, that something is off. And I do like, if you guys have ever worked, you know, done stuff more manual, there'll usually be like a piece of equipment that people say is cursed, you know, oh, you don't want to use that one, that's the cursed one. So it does have a real world jumping off point. And I do, as I said earlier, like the sense of scale. I think something's up with that. Okay, that's doing something. There's definitely something up. Is it a weird malfunction? Is someone messing with us? Is it my boss? I don't know. But you get to see where they don't know what's up, but they more and more start to accept that something is. And it gets to the point where there's a killer bulldozer destroying our tents. Again, pre-YouTube days, we're gonna have fun. We're gonna show the audience the sense of spectacle as this thing is plowing over stuff, running over a box of dynamite, and just being unfazed by the explosion. Killdozer's really cool, and seeing those graves line up on the beach, more and more, each one creating a sense of dread, it does build to the point where the bulldozer itself is playing cat and mouse with you, and you get the sense of desperation, and you do feel stuck on the island. Overall, Killdozer's a really fun movie. It is low budget. It is only a few characters on one set, and it doesn't reinvent the wheel or anything, but it's a killer bulldozer movie made really well with a good sense of effort. And I can't help but think how if we made this movie nowadays, it would just be a bunch of lame jokes about, a killer bulldozer, and then you'd get a bad CGI bulldozer and it would only be on screen for like 2 minutes. You see the Killdozer doing some real stuff, real world damage with characters that we really care about. It's good, it's well made. Not the best thing ever, but hey, it is worth a watch. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. If you guys want to see more, you can click right there and see more. Anyway, have a good day. See you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.